You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
On today's Total Wellness Tuesday show, episode 480, I want to go over the importance of your liver. It's referred to literally as the number one or most important organ in your body, above the heart, above the kidneys, above your stomach, above the pancreas, above all the different other workings and parts of your body. And there's a big reason for that. The reason is this, is that your liver literally processes everything that moves around in your bloodstream every 3 to 6 minutes. That means within 6 minutes, all of your blood has been kind of cleaned, filtered, and processed every 6 minutes of your life. And it never stops. While you're asleep, it's still going the same exact way. Now, here's the big thing. Is about 2 weeks ago in episode 460, I talked about the best foods to eat on a daily basis in order to detoxify. But today's show, what I want to do is I want to go beyond that, because I know that with detoxification, we are predominantly talking about the liver. That is a big thing, about talking about making all the phase 1 nutrients, which are essentially your antioxidants and your vitamins like E, vitamin B, vitamin C. And then we're talking about the phase 2, which are a lot of the sulfur-based amino acids. Do check out that show, because I talk about with people all the time, okay, if you're doing a detox, such as the Dr. Detox or another one, what you want to do is you want to ramp up these foods as well, or just keep those going on your daily basis in your diet. But today what I want to talk about, I want to focus specifically on the liver. And here's the reason why. If your liver's not functioning properly, we're going to put it that way, meaning it's not doing as well as it could, you're going to end up with fatigue, you're going to end up with skin-based issues, you're going to end up with acne, you're going to end up with headaches, you're going to end up with on your blood work, like your AST and ALT, those liver enzyme counts can actually start to get too high. Now, that's only in the end stages, without a doubt, but before that, you start to look at the symptoms, like waking up groggy and maybe the skin tone even being off a little bit, maybe even being a little yellow as well. So keep these things in mind, that you start to see the symptoms of just feeling like blah. And a lot of times that correlates with your liver. Now, your liver is this big, dark red organ underneath the right side of your rib cage. And its job, again, is to keep your body clean and healthy. But not only that, keep in mind that when you eat, every time you eat, the proteins get broken down, of course, in your stomach, in your intestines, but then they get shuttled to your liver. And it's your liver's job, so they're called hepatocytes, but the hepatocytes, the liver cells, actually work on removing a lot of the harmful chemicals from proteins, such as nitrogen that breaks down to ammonia, which is actually toxic to the body. It excretes all sorts of things as well, like uric acid. So these are really important. So if you're eating, especially if you're eating a lot of animal-based protein in your diet, you do need to make sure that your liver is running on all cylinders. I'm going to give you a lot of those top foods today. The other thing is when you're eating fats. So fats are essentially emulsified or broken down by bile. Well, your bile is being produced by the liver. It's being stored in that gallbladder. It's being released into the intestine to meet those fats. And then what it does is it breaks them open, and it breaks down those fatty acid chains as well. It helps you to better absorb it. But then it also can convert it. So the stored fat can actually be, two ways. So your liver can actually store fat then if there's an excess, or it can be converted back into what's called glycerol, and the liver turns that remaining fatty acids into actual energy. So your body can then use that. So what we're talking about is when you have a lack of energy, sometimes it absolutely is linked to the liver. And the other great thing is to keep your body energized. When you eat carbohydrates, your body will your liver will take all of the sugars that it needs. Well, it will use that to help regulate blood sugar. It will store the remaining in the form of glycogen. So we'll take those sugar, the glucose stored as glycogen, and the liver will get its supply, and then it could store in the muscles or it could be turned to fat. But what it does is it's actually using all of your food. So it just doesn't stop in your stomach or your intestines. Your liver is doing a lot of that processing as well. So keep in mind with all of these things, that's how we're staying healthy. That's how we're staying energized. That's how we're also keeping nice, clean, healthy blood. And if you don't have clean, healthy blood, well, think about this. Your body's not going to be able to fully, we'll put oxygenate all of your red blood cells. It's not going to bring all of the vitamins that you need, the vitamin B, the K, the C, E. A lot of those are actually utilized and produced in part by your liver, especially B12. So we talk about B12 a lot. Well, if you have liver-based issues or even vitamin D, you're not going to be able to fully utilize that B12 or D or K. So really, really important to look at. And then two other ones I'll say is a lot of people with anemia right now. So if you have anemia, you can't just say, oh, well, I have a lack of iron. Most people get enough iron. You have to say, why am I not able to utilize the iron that I do have? And a lot of times when that liver is not working well enough, liver and copper and B12, now you're looking at three of the items that can actually cause different forms of anemia right there. Iron, copper, B12, and there's other B vitamins like B6, folate, magnesium, those are a few of the others, but that can actually cause the lower counts of oxygen inside the red blood cells, as well as a total RDW count or lowered red blood cell count. Really, really important when you're looking at your blood work. And that's why when you have your blood work run on an annual basis or twice a year, it's so important because I know that there's not a lot of PCPs or MDs out there explaining what these numbers actually mean. But a lot of people come in with lack of energy, and I look at their labs and I'm saying, has anyone ever told you this, 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 and this? And they say, no. Well, I said, just because you're not out of range, you're actually, from a functional medicine perspective, running pretty low. So your body's not at optimal, which means like, yes, you don't have a disease, but that's why you feel like this. That's why you feel that way. So I think hopefully you have a pretty good idea now of why the liver is so important. So let's actually go through. I just created a list of just about 10 foods right now in total of that I believe that, including these, I made them realistic foods. I know some lists like they put on like camu and like some random things, which are still great. I'm not saying they're not great, but at the same time, let's look at normal foods that you can be including in your diet on at least a weekly basis, if not a daily to every other day basis. And I also call these vegan-based foods. So for a lot of people who aren't fully with the vegan, vegetarian, or maybe let's just say animal paleo-based, vegan foods are going to be meat-free, and they're going to be dairy-free, they're going to be egg-free, they're going to be free of anything that actually came from an animal themselves. So what we're looking at is these are great products for every human being alive. And if you eat meat, fine, then you add these to that. If you eat fish, good, then you'll add these. And the same with chicken, poultry, eggs, all of those different things. Okay, so let's get right into the list. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. But I know that these foods right now are just going to make you, every single person out there, a lot healthier because, again, that liver being the most important organ in your body, if that's not functioning well, not much is going to go well after that, meaning like your heart's going to function not as maximally as it can. Your kidneys are actually going to have to do more work. So you're going to start to get things like kidney stones or other kidney-based diseases, which are not good. Okay, so let's get right into the first food today. Whenever I'm thinking about how can I clean the blood, how can I help out that liver, I'm thinking beets, or I'm thinking things that are dark red in nature. So beets and also beet greens are excellent for juicing, obviously excellent to add to a salad or any food as well. So what do beets do? Well, beets that dark red in nature is always blood building. That's a great first thing to think about. Blood building, your liver helps to build up the blood as well. But beets and beet greens also help to loosen bile. So oftentimes if we're eating a lot of high fat, let's say high fried foods, that's going to create a lot of congestion in the liver with all of that fat as well. And again, there's back and forth debates, but this is very scientifically founded that the more, especially fried fats that you're eating right now, the hydrogenated fats, which are not good, but they're in a lot of fast foods, that does tend to congest the liver. It tends to slow the flow of blood through that liver as well because you have thousands of bile ducts and it's just basically congealing in there. It's thickening the bile. So beets help to loosen that as well. So they also help to improve circulation. And again, we need to circulate that blood through the liver. That's why also beets are so great with people with any type of neuropathy, or they have type 2 diabetes or diabetic neuropathy. Really, really powerful for that as well. Okay, number two. Number two is turmeric. So turmeric, yes, it can be taken as a supplement as curcumin or curcumin phytosome or different types of curcumin. But what we're talking about today is how can we use this as a food base? Well, you can actually juice turmeric, believe it or not. You can juice it like a root, just like ginger, but you can also get the powder or even dry it yourself if you want, but it's so much easier, obviously, just to get the turmeric powder. And turmeric powder, yes, it reduces inflammation. It's great for that, but it aids in digestion. So keep in mind, you're always going to help out your liver that much more if you make digestion easier, because then your liver has less work to do as well. There's less free-floating toxins or free-floating free radicals in the bloodstream, so that's less liver detoxification to do, which is great. So besides that, turmeric does help. And believe it or not, there's actually newer studies coming out showing that turmeric helps with both phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification. It helps because it is a powerful and free radical squelcher as well, which means it kind of wipes out a lot of those free radicals in your body that causes oxidation-based issues. Okay, number three is anything bright orange in nature. But I'm going right now with sweet potatoes and carrots. Those are two of my favorite. And the reason is those are extremely high in vitamin C, but also vitamin A. But what we're looking at with those two specific vitamins, especially the vitamin C, we're looking at decrease in overall free radicals. Again, why does that matter? Well, your liver actually has to remove these fat-soluble toxins, environmental toxins, anything that might be in the environment or from the foods, and essentially break that down. It needs to turn it to a water-soluble metabolite, which you can then excrete through the kidneys and urine. It has to break it down from a fat-soluble, again, to a water-soluble, I talked about, an intermediary metabolite, which can then be brought into the bile, then excreted through the intestines as well. You can even get some of them to be not almost, as airborne, and you can huff them out. They can come out through the lungs, or you can sweat them out as well. So what your body does, it looks to break down those harmful chemicals, and vitamin C helps with that. Vitamin C is a great phase 1 antioxidant, but also what it does, it's a precursor to a lot of the phase 2 sulfur-based amino acids, which help break down the more harmful chemicals that we don't get as much. And I also like vitamin C because it's a great recycler of other antioxidants, such as vitamin E, which might be a little bit more powerful as well. Okay, number 4. This is one that's not often used, and that's dandelion leaves, essentially. You can use the stems as well, but dandelion leaves. I want to mention this for a very specific reason, because it's actually easier now to get dandelion-based products. You actually buy dandelion greens. Like if you go to any Whole Foods or Sprouts, in the green section, the produce section, you'll typically find the dandelion greens sitting there right on the shelf next to like the Swiss chard or like bok choy, right over there. They have those. Great to juice, great to add a little bit to a salad. Now they are very bitter, but they're bitter in nature. And you know that bitter in nature always is loaded with a lot of B vitamins, which is going to help again with the liver detoxification. But then also a lot of these dark green leafies help to promote bile flow, but they also act as chelators, and that means they're going to lock up with a lot of the heavy metals and a lot of chemicals and pull them right out of the body. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in just a couple foods from now, but dandelion, one reason I wanted to mention that as well, also good for the kidneys. So it works on both liver and kidney cleansing. So pretty powerful stuff, and so you can get them there, but you can also make it as a tea. Like you can get a dandelion tea, and that's a nice way to do it. Squeeze a little lemon in there. That could be great to have between meals as well. So number 5 is garlic. Now, garlic I like to look at, yes, you can cook with it, absolutely. But garlic, sometimes it's almost too powerful for people. And that's because it is a very high sulfur phase 2 liver detoxifier, which means it takes those intermediary metabolites, and what it does is it actually breaks them down to something then more harmless that can't float around in your bloodstream, create more free radical damage, and then you're able to, again, just very gently remove them through the bile, remove them through the blood, which gets filtered by the kidneys coming out then as urine. So really powerful. It's also antimicrobial, antibacterial, so kill some of those gut bugs. Again, if you know my protocols, my Candida protocol, as well as the Candida SIBO, basically the Candida gut bacterial based one. We don't use that in the very beginning because it can act as a prebiotic, but we'll use it after about 6 to 8 weeks for those people that can tolerate that. So really powerful as well. All right, broccoli is up next. Now, there's so many to choose from. Like there's cauliflower, there's Brussels sprouts, but broccoli specifically, because of its higher levels of something called sulforaphane, which is being studied literally right down the street from me in Boston at Mass General Hospital and a bunch of the different hospitals and research projects we have going on here. It's literally being shown right now to help with Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, neurological disorders, really all parts of the body. And they just keep doing study after study after study. And the reason, why would it work so well? Well, here's the thing. If you can get your liver functioning better, everything works better in your body. That's why, when we look at natural health, we talk about root causes, right? So if we're always talking about root causes and we're thinking about, well, how can we get to the bottom of this? So many people right now are struggling with their health and they're trying to fine tune their thyroid. They're trying to fine tune their adrenals. They're trying to just lower histamines because of migraines, like whatever it might be, add a little bit more magnesium. Well, all of those things though will be brought to a 10x level, meaning like you'll get 10 times the results if you start to detoxify, if you start to ramp up your liver's ability to cleanse your body. Here's the thing. When the human body has to just deal with its own endogenous processes, meaning like daily activities, the house, think about your house. Your house gets dirty on a weekly basis, right? It gets dirty on a daily basis. You have to sweep it and clean it up. That just happens from you living. But then think about like keeping your windows open and your doors open during like a windstorm. Everything's going to blow in. Well, think about this. In our environment right now, 77,000 plus man-made chemicals coming in. Body was never meant to deal with that type of onslaught. So here's the thing. You get your liver functioning better, everything gets better. And that's why really, for me, a lot of the, even my private wellness clients, they don't really know that we're working on it. But the whole time, we are working on strengthening the efficacy of the liver, of the kidneys, all the organs themselves. Because from a naturopathic perspective, when you give the body what it needs, it does what it's supposed to. When it's missing what it needs, that's when things start to break down. That's when we start to see the symptoms. Well, let me just talk just a bit about the sulforaphane. Sulforaphane can be used as a nutritional supplement. There's a lot of great companies. Thorne uses it. Emerson uses it. Pure Encapsulations, I should say. In our product, the Daily Nutritional Support, on a daily basis, we give that, but we also put it in our Dr. Ball Detox. And the reason is it's a precursor. It's used and it's needed for glutathione-based production. That cysteine-based, sulfur-based amino acids, which also help again with that phase 2 detox. Why do I keep mentioning phase 2? Here's the reason why. Most people take care of phase 1 with a good multivitamin, meaning like they're getting their B's, their C's, their vitamin E. They're getting a lot of that. But what they're not getting are their brassica family of vegetables. They're cruciferous, they're sulfur-based vegetables, which are the Brussels sprouts, the cauliflower, the broccoli, really, really important. So we want to ramp those up as well. All right. Couldn't leave the list alone without adding ginger, one of my favorites for digestion, cleansing the kidneys, cleansing the liver, softening bile, potent antioxidant, helps squelch some of those free radicals. Unbelievable. And then I love these two combination together. Lemon. First thing in the morning, it's an old wives' tale, right? But it's the truth. And the truth is, in folk-based medicine, it was passed down for a reason. When you squeeze some of that lemon into warm water, hot water, first thing in the morning, and you sip on that, you drink that, that helps to wake up the digestive system. All right. It helps to cleanse the liver by, again, softening bile, by opening up those bile ducts, by dropping that into the intestines, helping with a good bowel movement as well. First thing in the morning, really, really important. And that's why, for me, having the lemon and ginger together, I think is really powerful. And that's why, one of my favorite juices are carrot, ginger, lemon. Absolutely one of my favorites right there, because you're getting the vitamin A, the vitamin C. You get the powerful antioxidants of the ginger, and you get the, yes, lemon is acidic coming into the stomach, but then alkaline as those massive amount of negative ions of potassium come into the body as well. All right, we're going to do 9 today. The final one, the last one, is parsley. Very few people are using parsley in their diet, but it's so easy. Again, you go into Whole Foods, you go into Sprouts, you go into any one of these stores, your natural grocer, or ideally a farmer's market. Support your local farmers. Buy organic. This parsley right here, literally all you're going to do, and you don't get as much from the stem, so pull off the leaves. All you need is a tiny handful. A tiny handful every single day will provide you with a mass amount of vitamin E, natural vitamin E, of course. You'll get green leaves high in chlorophyll, which are super high in vitamins. Again, the B vitamins as well. Lots of minerals in there needed for liver detoxification. But also parsley is a natural heavy metal chelator, which means that it's going to bind to a lot of the heavy metals, okay? And it's going to work with your liver to naturally pull them right out of the body. So if you're doing a sauna or infrared sauna, if you're doing exercise to huff them out, if you're doing rebounding, just again, lots of fiber, having bowel movements once or twice a day, drinking lots of water to get it out through the urine. So those are the main ways which you're going to get rid of all these toxins. But again, that liver, I'm telling you right now, if you're struggling with your health or you're struggling with weight loss right now, or you just feel like, like you're aging faster than you should be, honestly, it's all about starting with the liver, making sure that has everything it needs, that organ right there, to do its job. And then it takes the pressure off your kidneys. It takes the pressure off, honestly, it takes the pressure off you losing weight as much as well, because your body, if it's not processing fats very well, sugar very well, it's going to be harder to take that weight off. It takes the pressure off the heart. Anything you can do to cleanse and purify that blood is going to help you live longer, stronger, no doubt about it. So hopefully today's show was helpful. If it was, let me know. Go to StephenCabral.com/Ask Cabral. You can always ask me any questions right there. If you ever need support, though, go to support@StephenCabral.com or support@drcabraldetox.com. That's where you get your questions answered daily on products or whatever it might be. But if you want to ask me a question, you want to get right to me, you can always use that Ask Cabral. That's the one that I do look at once a week or so as we're doing our Cabral house calls on the weekend. So again, thank you one and all for tuning in. Really do appreciate each and every one of your listens, and definitely come back tomorrow when we have a brand new take on food combining and how that's going to help with your overall wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging journey. Take care, everyone.
Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing, and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.